Hello and welcome back to another video today here again on Gran Turismo 7 to take a look at a bit of an unlikely car to be interested in, which is of course this Toyota Prius, which you've probably already seen from the thumbnail and title of this video, that I'm only really taking a look at it to see what modification options we have and whether we can turn it into something quite ridiculous, because at the moment it only has 120 horsepower and weighs 1,350 kilos. So let's head straight to the upgrade shop, because there's not really any interesting facts to tell you about this car, and see what we can do with it. So after a quick trip to the upgrade shop and to the customization shop, I've returned here to Tsukuba to give the modified Prius a bit of a test drive. I have fitted it with a full wide body, even if it's not really that noticeable, which it often isn't in Gran Turismo, a carbon fibre splitter and side skirts, the largest size custom wing I could fit, 18-inch Enki wheels, and it's finished in Toyota's lightning yellow. So those are the visual mods. I then went to the upgrade shop, as I said, where I basically added everything I possibly could, with the most obvious thing that wasn't available being upgraded gearbox, which did slow the car down quite a lot. I've only managed to get 150 horsepower out of it, despite fitting as much power as I possibly can. I kind of think it should really have been an option to add more and to change the gearbox. Like I say, I found that was really holding the car back here on the track. It does, however, now only weigh just over 1,000 kilos, and with all of those handling parts, it was really good in the corners. So the only problem was the speed on the straight, which, like I say, was mostly down to the gearbox. It only has a drive gear in Gran Turismo. There's no option to change. It actually feels very like the Toyota you start with in this game, which is quite closely related to the Prius. But yeah, even with that bright yellow paintwork and those Go Faster Gazoo racing stickers, it was a bit terrible, really. Which I suppose isn't that surprising. It is sitting just below 600 performance points, and for that kind of level, it felt pretty slow. So the one thing I did do, one of the things you can do to try and make it a little bit faster on the straights, is I put the downforces to as little as possible, but it was still incredibly slow, and to be honest, a little bit disappointing, because one of the fun things to do with ridiculously slow cars like this, in games like this, is make them ridiculously fast. But yeah, whatever you do to this thing, it seems to be pretty slow. Although it does look like that, which is definitely an improvement. So around Tsukuba it was pretty dreadful, as you saw. It couldn't even manage a sub 1 minute, which I think for 600 performance points it should really be able to do. So I thought, well, it's terrible at that. Let's see how it does around Fuji in an actual race. So this is the 550 PP Clubman Cup, I think, and with this at nearly 600, it should be able to manage. It handles a lot better than these cars, at least. That's something, even if it doesn't quite have the speed. But yeah, this will be interesting to see if it's... Well, if it can't win this, it's very terrible, basically. So to see it's at all useful. I know it's not going to be the quickest car, but AI should be easy in Gran Turismo, so yeah, it should really, based on its performance points, be able to win this. But like I said, it did feel slow for 600, so, well, let's see how we get on. Get out of the way, inferior Toyota. Keep your 86 when you can be in a Prius. Why would you be in that? One thing I have kind of thought is front-wheel drive is potentially easier to drive in the rain. No spinning out with your powerful rear-wheel drive cars. Having said that, there's a Skyline in front, which is of course all-wheel drive, and pulling away. Oh, round the outside of the Skyline, this is going excellently. I did notice actually on the straight I'm pretty much level with everyone, which I'm very surprised about, given it's not really even reaching 3 figures in speed. Barely. Again, just because of that dreadful gearbox. I am somehow up to, well, it really should be up to second as we get onto the straight again here, although I think I'm about to be overtaken by a very old thing. Stupid sushi delivery car. Oh, why are you braking so early? I guess his handling is not as good as mine. Goodbye. Somehow got fastest lap of the race as well. Well, I suppose I should have if I'd worked my way through the field like that. I have found the leader, though, in an Honda, which is slightly worrying, because they're quite quick. Although, I'm through, I just need to... don't let him through on the inside. Unfortunately, that means I'm now over here. I'm winning! Just got to get to the line. This might require some Alonso weaving. Go away. Yes! That should have been a lot easier than that in a car that's 600 pp, but you can win a race in a Prius if you really want to use it for some of the campaign races. So there we go. It turns out the Prius possibly could be quite a good modified car here in Gran Turismo if it wasn't for the truly, truly awful gearbox that, for reasons you can't change, and you can't really add quite enough power, you can't turbocharge it in any way, which is slightly disappointing. So 150 horsepower is your lot, and the gearbox, like I say, is terrible. So really, modified, it's not actually very good. You can win a touring car race if you want to, but it's 50 pp higher than it should be to enter that, and you have to resort to interesting tactics to win the race. So yeah, not really a viable option. I think the most fun you'd have is racing a pack of these together, maybe online. Potentially stock, again, would be more fun if you're going to do a one-make race, though. So modifying it like this is entirely pointless, but it looks like that, which is definitely an improvement over the standard car. It is just a shame it's still quite so terrible. Don't really know what I expected, just kind of hoped if you had a car like this in a racing game like this, you could do something mad with it, which you can, but it's still terrible. So there we go. The Prius started terrible, was modified to make it less terrible, turned out it was just as terrible, and I can now conclude that it's terrible. And that is going to be all for today's video, taking a first look at the terrible Toyota Prius with its awful, awful gearbox that I hate. But that's going to be all for today, so thank you very much for watching. Do let me know if you want me to take a look at any other stupid cars like this, or anything else that you think could potentially be fun to have a play around with or modify. But for now, that's going to be all, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with the next video very soon.